Good morning and welcome back to the F1Stop show. I'm your host Sam Oni and with me is Wes Spearman. Um, I gotta say, it's been a long time. So imagine 5, 6 weeks away from the podcast, you've forgotten everything, but it's good to be back. Wes,
Yeah,
how are
really
you?
good. Yeah, good to see you again. Yeah, I'm good. I'm very good, thanks. Yeah. Excited this weekend. I mean, A, we're back. B, we've got Singapore, and C, there's just so much sport going on this week. It feels like. At time of recording, it's the One Day Cup final in the cricket. There's lots of women's cricket games on. But it is coming to the end of cricket season, so that is a little bit sad for me. But yeah, I feel like a lot's happened since we've last been. I mean, for YouTube viewers, see a different camera angle. So I've got a new laptop, and for some reason they've decided to put the webcam in the bottom bit of the laptop, not the top. Hence why it's sort of looking up rather
Oh,
than down. So which feels a bit weird. But yeah, I moved house as well, so hence it's slightly different background. But yeah, I've been pretty good. Thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's been all right. New job, pretty great. So it's going good so far. But you know, Formula One is back. Well, it's been back, but we haven't been
We
back.
haven't been back.
Anyway,
We've been away.
yeah, we've been away. Well, Singapore then, the first non-European race this weekend.
For the season.
Yeah.
Oh, we've had Bahrain, we've had Qatar,
Oh yeah. Sorry, my
all
bad.
those races. Australia,
Right, forget that.
Miami.
Anyway,
Scrap that.
scrap that.
Yeah,
Singapore.
there's no more European races left to come. We've done
Yeah.
finished off the European line with Italy a few weeks ago, and quite a good race actually. I think plenty of battles for the sort of top five positions.
Mm,
Verstappen won, obviously, won his 10th in a row new record in F1 history. Yeah, the Ferraris were just on it. And it was only because Red Bull got such a good car that they ended up on two. But yeah, the Ferraris were just on it, providing so much entertainment that weekend in Monza. But yeah, as you say, Singapore this weekend should be an interesting track. I always look forward to something a bit different. I mean, yeah, it's a street track. I know I say I'm not a massive fan of street tracks, but Singapore I actually quite like just because it is so much of a test um, for the drivers. It can feel a bit like an endurance race sometimes. You've got the ever since that 2 hour limit was introduced, I think after Canada 2010, where Button came from last to first twice and won it or something. Um, yeah, a lot of Singapore Grand Prix have ended up going to the time limit rather than number of laps.
yeah.
I think every Singapore Grand Prix that's been hosted has had at least one safety car. Had a slightly um, rough debut in 2008 where the whole Crashgate thing happened with um, Nelson Piquet Jr. allowing I think, Alonso to win that race, which I mean, we're still hearing about it now with Felipe Massa challenging, not
Yeah.
necessarily the
Lost
outcome of
his
the 2008
file.
season, but
Yeah.
yeah, along those lines, I mean, I'll be interested to see what happens there. He won't get the title handed to him, but see how much if he gets any sort of damages for it. Um, yeah, I think there was another incident in I can't remember what year, but under the bridge mark where there was some sort of interference with I think it was like a mobile phone signal or something, causing
Oh.
some sort of electronic issues with the cars or my brother's car or something. Which is quite interesting. Um, yeah, as a track, just really like Singapore, just for how tough it is, really, and yeah, it often puts on a good show. I think.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. I mean, my favorite parts about Singapore is I just like it that it's a night race, you know?
You do
Uh
like a night race.
I do. I do love night races. I just feel with night races I feel like more the races come to life if you like. Like we get we get our Belgium Grand Prix, our Monza, Silverstone, you know, it's almost like a normal day of racing if you like, you know? But the one thing I like about Singapore with the night race is like the times are different. Some might be sleeping, some might still be awake, and it just brings everything to life if you like. And yeah, that's what I like about Singapore.
it feels more technical than something like a Monza or an Albert Park, Australia, or Montreal, Canada. Um, has changed a few years. The old Singapore sling isn't there anymore, which was like a quick left, right, left, kind of whereabouts on the circuit is. Um, yeah, the weather in Singapore is usually it varies quite a lot. It's quite tropical, so um, yeah, quite often there has been a number of wet races in Singapore. I think we're on for potentially another wet race tomorrow, Sunday. Um, I think it's supposed to be wet most of the day. It might be dry in the evening though, so we'll have to see how that plays out. Um, in terms of practice, I think the Ferraris have actually done quite well this weekend in practice here. You had Leclerc and Sainz top the timesheets in FP1 and FP2 actually. The other way around in FP2, you had Leclerc, Sainz, FP1, Sainz, Leclerc in FP2. Currently, FP3 is actually still going on. You've got Sainz again top of the timesheets with a 132. And Norris in second in the McLaren with a 132.3 as well. So interesting to see how that pans out the rest of the day, and it'd be interesting to see how qualifying goes. I'm not sure if it'll be a wet qualifying today, but I mean, just looking on BBC weather, yeah, it's going to be dry today. Slightly disappointing, so we can have a mixed up grid for tomorrow. But yeah, looking at the weather tomorrow, it's very wet throughout the afternoon. It does dry a little bit towards the end of the day when they'll actually be racing, which again slightly disappointing that rain isn't carrying on. Yeah, who knows? Singapore, it always throws at something.
So Singapore this weekend and qualifying as well. What are your thoughts? What do you think with a wet race, and in the past we've had wet races as well? What do you think is going to happen this weekend, and how do you see the grid panning out? Do you reckon Red Bull can continue to stomp their authority, and Max Verstappen just be on his way to a third world title already?
I'd say he's pretty much got the title wrapped up already. There's only one turn in a row. I think just listening back to the Monza highlights, Verstappen's been unbeaten in any sprint race Grand Prix since the 30th of April. That's getting over. That's 4.5 months ago. Which is 5.5 months. Yeah, no, 4.5 months ago. So, which is mental, isn't it? I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
he's obviously a quality driver and certainly one of the best in the world at the moment. But yeah, that Red Bull car is Adrian Newey's done some job on that car. It's just madness. Um, but yeah, fully expect Red Bull to be top in the time sheets again this weekend. I know they haven't done it in the practice session so far, but again, they're only practicing. Don't get me wrong, Verstappen's still been up there. Ish, although having a look at it, FP1, I'm trying to find him third in FP1, eighth in FP2, and currently fifth in FP3. Maybe not the results you'd be hoping for, but again, it's practice. We don't know what sort of setups these guys are running, whether they're doing like a heavy fuel run or something, checking setups and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, as I say, fully expect Red Bull to qualify well, have good race pace, but I'll be interested to see how the Ferraris do, given how well they performed in Monza. Yes, I know they dropped a few places, but it's only a matter of time before the Red Bulls overtake you, I suppose, especially on a power track like Monza. Um, yeah, street circuit does tend to be a little bit more of a leveler because, or better for the teams that don't rely on their power. So looking at teams like Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren, Alpine into the mix, Aston Martin as well. Those midfield
yeah,
teams, this is where they sort of not necessarily come into their own a bit, but can claw back some points as opposed to the power tracks like Monza, Spa, places like that. Um, so yeah, I'll be interested to see how the Ferraris do. As I say, did really well a few weekends out in Monza. Uh, as far as practice goes, again, top of the timesheets there. Um, and yeah, just interesting to see how well Ferrari can do this weekend if they can get onto that podium again. Sainz has done really well, as I think they've both done all right this season. To be fair, certainly in the last few weeks. Yeah, I'd love to see a McLaren in the mix, a Norris, a Piastri. Hamilton and Russell fighting for that top three as well.
Yeah.
It's just a case of whether anyone can stop Verstappen from breaking that record even further, or stop him going 11, 12, etc., etc. Because the way I see it at the moment, Verstappen is just going to win every race for the rest of the season, which will be a bit boring, I suppose. But yeah, if he does win, say like 15 in a row, that's just an insane season of Formula One and just motorsport in general. It's madness.
I mean, to win if he does, to win 15 out of what 23 this season,
23. I
24,
can't remember how many
23.
races are left to go. Actually, he might not be able to win
That's
15 in a row.
that's
I'm
more
pretty,
than
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure there's more than 5 races left.
yeah,
Singapore, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He could win 17 in a row potentially.
seven,
That's the
17 in a
max he
row.
can. That's the max can get this season.
So that's more than half. That's
A
definitely more
lot
than
more than
half.
half. It's good.
A lot more than half. So I mean, Ferrari have done well this. Well, they're doing well right now. You know, topping the timesheets in practice, and if they go on to produce that in qualifying, who's to say that we can get Ferrari 1, 2 in the podium? You know, and we'll have to see what qualifying does because maybe if you ask me who's going to be on your podium, I might put a Ferrari 1, 2 on that. Whether it's Sainz or Leclerc or vice versa, who knows? As long as it's Ferrari 1, 2, then that's fine by me. Um,
Fine
right,
by me as
question.
well. It's not just Red Bull dominant. So I mean, it has been, but yeah, it'd be nice to see some more variety in the colour on the podium rather than just navy and yellow and red.
Yeah. Um, what else is there? So, leading up to this weekend, I believe your beloved McLaren have gifted us with a new, or should I say, upgraded livery, if you like.
They haven't. I'd certainly say upgraded. It looks banging.
And there's this trend, like they always do it for select races. We saw it in Monaco with the Golf livery. We saw it in where was the other one?
The
Silverstone.
McLaren. Yeah, I think it was still. Yeah, they're chrome
Yeah,
livery, whereas more silver. This one I think is the best of the bunch. Besides the Golf livery, which was last year I think at Monaco, as you mentioned. Yeah, this one looks really good. I really like. I know it seems a bit boring. It's just a black car, but the way they've done it, I think, is superb. Yeah, the black and the orange works really well. I think Williams have got a special livery this weekend as well. Again with the Golf colours. I remember near the start of the season they had like 4 special liveries. I think fans got to vote for which one they wanted to see
yeah,
at
yeah.
certain tracks, and yeah, I can't remember what the name of the design is, but again, it looks really, really cool. I mean, who doesn't love a golf livery, no matter what sort of design it is? Those that sort of pale blue, decade blue almost, with the orange, it's just iconic. Um, yeah, as you say, it's just interesting how often teams are allowed to change their liveries because I think, as you say, this is kind of like third of this season. I think it's
Yeah.
Williams third as well. Alfa Romeo did a special livery in Monza, which again looked awesome to be honest with the Italian flag on the side. Um, I can't remember who else has had a special livery this season. I'm pretty sure one other team has. Um, I remember I think it was Turkey a few, it might be 2020 or 21 now, where Red Bull, because they didn't have the Japanese Grand Prix that year and Turkey
Yeah,
was added in, they ran that special Japanese livery at Turkey, which again looked really
yeah.
cool with the basically white and red, almost like a Japanese flag on a Red Bull car, which again looked fantastic, I think.
That looks
Um,
very nice.
yeah, so yeah, I think McLaren have smashed out of the park this weekend with their livery, as have Williams. And it's nice to see these special liveries, but it's cost the teams a lot of money just to
Yeah.
redesign a livery for essentially 3 days of the year.
Um, yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Mercedes do anything of a sort like that. I could probably understand why, because maybe they are known as the silver arrows, and in the past their cars have mainly been silver or black, in the exception of 2020 and this year as well. So I can probably see why they don't do any, you know, special liveries if you like. But if you were Toto Wolf and you said, "Oh, we're gonna do a special livery," excuse me, uh, I don't know, in 2025 for Germany, if you like, in Hockenheim, oh, that would be great. Though. That would be great to have Hockenheim back for 2025. How would you plan it out, and what colors would you use,
Um,
or would
I'm
you
not sure.
stick with the same?
I don't know. I feel like if it's your own place, then it has to be a little bit special. I don't know, because the German flag, I don't think it's got colours that are too easy to incorporate
Mm,
into any colours. Like, there's always what black, red, and gold, um, which will certainly be interesting. I mean, just think about what the German football team play. They usually play white and black. Um,
yeah,
but then I'm thinking of Mercedes and sort of what sponsors than anything, a Patronus blue
yeah,
sort of colour, almost like turquoise colour car would be quite interesting. I don't know if that would be sort of like a German Grand Prix one-off. Um, yeah, I just think it's such a good colour, but then it also works really well as just the stripes along the side of the car and works
mm,
rather than sort of in the back. It's there and you notice it, but the black Mercedes certainly this year is predominant. I don't know if you have too much of that blue. It just overpowers everything. I feel like I'm talking about like cooking at the moment. Oh, if you have if you have too much garlic, it just overpowers everything or something like that. Um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like let's have like just the German flag stripes on that sort of shark fin um, box, whatever it is. I don't know, but it was like a tricky one to integrate the German flag
yeah,
into. Although I suppose Mercedes with a black car, it might work a bit better. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see if and when Hockenheim does get back on the calendar, and if Mercedes do, especially because as you said, I don't remember them doing. There's none that stick out in the mind if they
mm,
have done one. I think I remember it might have been again in 2020 where they had faces of either staff or NHS people, and they put
yeah,
that on the side of the car for Silverstone. Um, but yeah, is that really a livery, if you like? Because
mm,
I think the rest of the car pretty much stayed the same. Um, yeah, it'd be interesting to see if and when Mercedes do, uh, yeah, release a one-off livery. Maybe if it was, if Malaysia was on the calendar, obviously Petronas being, I'm pretty sure it's a Malaysian company. Um, Maybe they might have done one for there, but yeah, sadly, Sepang isn't on the
mm.
calendar anymore. It's a great shame, but as I say, it'd be interesting to see, yeah, what Mercedes do put together for a special livery if and when they decide to do it.
Yeah. It would be great to see if they did delivery. So final one before we round off qualifying. Who who do you think is the one to look out for in terms of like, is there going to be a surprise package outside of Max Verstappen? Who do you think is going to be a real? Oh, he might have a good race this weekend. He might really get some points. Who do you have your eye on?
Um, so one's got to look at Fernando Alonso. Obviously, had that incredible start to the season's not perhaps done as well as he would like the last few weeks and leading up to the summer break. Yeah, I'd love to see him back in sort of the top five, top six, like those points of podiums again. Um, then you're looking at the guys in the Alpines, Gasly and Ocon, um, whether they can perform well. Was it Ocon this year where he had a good result at Jeddah? Um, might have been a couple of years ago now. Yeah, you're looking at those midfield teams, really, aren't you? Your Alpines, your McLarens, Alfa Romeo, perhaps, Haas, even. um, yeah, there's those sort of teams, Aston Martin as well, obviously. To see just how well they can do, really, on, as I said earlier, a track that isn't just dominated by how good your engine is.
Yeah,
Yeah, to see how well it's a test of the car's sort of handling and agility rather than power, isn't it, Singapore? yeah, I'd love to see Gasly, Ocon do well. Obviously, the McLaren's been, been my favourite team. Um, Russell, Hamilton again. And it seems weird to still be saying, oh, Hamilton, Russell, yeah, I can see that five podium when 2 years ago you were saying, oh, yeah, Hamilton, Russell, yeah, 1-2 locked in.
Yeah,
Mercedes dominant as usual. But again, the Ferraris, really keen to see how will they get on. Um, Again, they've looked good so far in pre-practice, but again, it is just practice. You can't quite tell how quick the cars are actually going to be in terms of quality pace and race pace. Yeah, as for one, I'd probably go Gasly to do well and
yeah,
surprise us a little bit.
okay, that's understandable. Um, so we've just got under a few minutes to go. I think one person who you wouldn't, if I told you this person, you wouldn't really think, no, you can't really, you know, cause a surprise. Um, I'm gonna go with Alex Albon from Williams. Now, if you watched Monza and Zandvoort, or one of the two, I believe he started his qualifying like after the summer break has been quite impressive because I believe he started in the top 10, maybe like sixth, maybe 10th in some other races. So I was like, okay, Alex Albon. And if you saw it, I think his starts as well has improved quite a lot. I saw, was it Monza that the camera onboarding? He had a very good start, a couple overtakes in that race as well in Monza, and I thought, you know what, Alex Albon, not really one to, he's not one of the first players on the team sheet to have a, you know, most talk about, but he's been pretty good, and I think he might have a very good race this weekend.
Yeah, to be honest, I completely forgot about Williams. Don't really know how. But yeah, as you say, Albon really in the mix. A couple of weekends ago at Monza fighting Hamilton, Norris, Piastri for so like P5 and 6 it was, I think, in the end. Did really, really
Yeah.
well, qualified really well. I think it was his best qualifying of the season. Yeah, I just completely forgot about Williams and Albon. I reckon he can surprise as well. Surprise in a good way, then like getting into the top 6, 7, not like oh, he's done really bad. He's qualified 20th.
Well, that's it for the Singapore Grand Prix kicks off this weekend. So third practice is currently on the way and should be ending soon. Qualifying, I believe, will be around what, maybe like four ish. I'm not sure at the times, but should be a good qualifying. So who do you think is going to be on pole then?
um, I don't know whether it's going for Verstappen or not because he hasn't got pole in any of the practice sessions. I'm going to go Leclerc for pole.
Okay. Well,
What, what are you what are you thinking?
I'm gonna go Carlos Sainz then. Yeah,
Ferraris.
Ferraris it is,
Nice.
and the Williams to get into the top 10 for qualifying. That's my what do you call it? That's my dark horse. Yeah, a Williams to get into the top 10 for qualifying. Gosh, if Albon can pull something like that off again, that would be great. Anyway, Singapore Grand Prix this weekend, and it's great to be back. You know, presenting to you guys again. So this has been the F1 Stop show. I've been your host Sam Oney, and it's a goodbye from me. Goodbye, and it's a goodbye from Wes.
Bye bye.
And we hope you enjoy the Singapore Grand Prix this weekend.